First stop, getting some fuel. So today is an absolute beautiful day. We've had quite a few rainy days recently, so I thought today would be perfect to take you guys out and get through that Q&A that I did the other week, just to see, you know, what you guys have in the way of questions for me to get to know me a bit better. So the first question that I got was what my daily rider is. Great question, and the answer to that is I have two bikes which I could possibly class as my daily riders. The one I'm on right now is a CX500. It's fairly stock apart from, I guess, the mirrors that I put on the end of the handlebars, and also I've taken the original cluster off, the original, I guess, cowl off, and the headlight. So the headlight and clusters, I guess, a little bit different. Apart from that, the bike's stock. Nothing else has really been touched on this. Maybe the rear shocks I think I've just replaced because they were pretty, you know, bad. And I just had a set, so I threw those on. But this bike here is just my bike that I'm getting around on, just purely so that I have something to ride. And as soon as I finish one of the other guys, then this guy is going to probably go up on the chopping block. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, I've mentioned that before. And I also have an XV750, which has been recently added to that list. So that's another bike, the Virago, which is also going to have the Cafe Racer modification done to it. And I can ride that one around as well, so we'll class that as a daily rider because it's pretty much stock as well. Now the next question is, what am I going to do with my bikes once I have completed them? And the answer to that question is, well, I'm going to keep them. I have no intentions in building bikes to sell them. I don't really want to go through that process of actually putting all my whole heart and soul into a bike and then turning around and selling it just yet. I might get to that, or I might start doing modifications for other people down the track, but right now I just want to put myself in a position where I have the bikes that I want and build them the way I want them for myself, not to sell them. These bikes don't really cost me a lot of money, really, in the scheme of things. They are fairly cheap to buy. I only buy them when I can get them cheap enough. And then the modifications, I just do them as you can afford them, you know, like anybody else. You just do things as you can afford them. Like whatever habit you're into, whatever passion you're into, you just can afford it because it's what you love to do and you find a way. So one question that I got was the process on how I put a bike together, which is an awesome question because I'm not going to go into too much depth with this because this is its own video. But what I am going to tell you is try and buy a bike that's complete. Don't buy a bike in a box if you can help it. I'm not saying not to, but try not to if you can help it. I know a lot of people can do this and they can put a bike together, but unfortunately not all of us know what's missing in that box. So if there's crucial parts or some of the really expensive parts missing in that box, then build's going to cost you a hell of a lot more money than what you anticipated. So try not to buy a bike in a box. And that leads me to the next thing. Once you get the bike, try and get it running. The last thing you want to do if you buy a bike is pull it to bits and just leave it on the floor in the garage and then come back to it, you know, maybe next weekend or the following month, and then you've gone, oh crap, what do I do? Where do I start? And then your motivation starts to drop. You just lose it. You don't have that drive that you initially did because it was a bike sitting there. It was a complete bike you could sit on. You could actually physically see it. So please don't pull a bike to bits as soon as you get it. Do it in stages. That's my biggest advice I could actually tell you. If you buy a bike and you have it sitting there, do the big things. Do the front end conversion. Once you've done the front end conversion, you know what wheels you can kind of fit on the bike. Then once you've got the wheels, get the tires. Have the tires and the wheels sitting there. Have the bike sort of sitting there in a complete piece. So then you can kind of look at it, stand back and go, okay, well, the bike sort of looks like that. Maybe I want the tail section to be this kind of way. And then start working on the tail section. But just do the tail section. Don't completely pull out all the wiring and start doing all that stuff until the very end. So that is one huge bit of advice that I could tell you. Do the bike in stages. If you follow any of my videos, you'll see how I've done things. The bike is never completely pulled apart. a lot of the comments that I get are because people are inspired by my videos. So stay inspired yourself by not pulling the bike to pieces, so you have something to look at. Now, the next question. Someone asked me how long I've been with my missus. My wife and I have been together for, I think, almost 9 years, give or take. Both of us don't know exactly how long it's been, but it's around there. So that's how long I've been with her. And the other question that's related into that question was, does she ride? And if she does, what does she ride? So both of those questions are no, she doesn't ride. So no, she doesn't have a bike. She had a bit of a hard time on her push bike once, and yeah, she's happy not to have an engine on a bike. So she's happy to ride her bike. In fact, in the background of all of my videos, you'll see that white bike sitting on the wall. That's hers. I've got a downhill mountain bike, which is mounted to the ceiling of the garage. You can't really see it in the videos, but hers is on the wall so she can access it nice and easy when she wants to go for a ride, but she's happy not to have an engine attached to it. Man, I've forgotten some of the questions. I'm gonna have to pull over and have a bit of a read and continue the ride. Well, that was less than fun. Just then I just had to change batteries on the GoPro, but as I was pulling the GoPro battery out of the camera, the little pull tab that actually, I guess you can't really get your fingers around the battery, so it's got this little, I guess, plastic pull tab, and the plastic pull tab just pulled straight out of the battery. So I was like, uh-oh. So I had to bang the camera on my hand just to jolt it, and I got it out in the end, but yeah, man, less than fun. Anyway, getting back to the questions. Another question that I had was, how many bikes have I had? And the short answer is 6. Hang on, 4. Yeah, 6. When I was younger, my dad had a Honda 90. It was just like I guess a glorified postie bike, and I used to cruise around up and down on the property that we had with that thing. It was a bit of fun. I took the muffler off it, and you know, it sounded really loud. I thought it was going really fast, you know, as you do. Oh, this is so quick. Wasn't any faster. It was actually probably slower. But it sounded really loud, so I thought it was going fast. God knows how old I was. Anyway, so that was my first bike. Second bike I basically bought as a repairable write-off. It was a CB 250. This was years ago, and I just kind of bought it because it had been dropped and I wanted to fix it. It's basically like a bit of a project, and I got it all back together, hardly ever rode it, and then eventually just sold that off, and I hadn't had a bike for, well, years. Up until recently, until I bought that CB 750. So all up, 6 bikes I've had. Now, next question is, whereabouts in Australia do I live? Well, I live on the sunny Gold Coast, and if you don't know where that is, it's basically an hour's drive south from Brisbane. You may have heard of Brisbane, or if you've heard of Sydney, Sydney, Australia, it's basically 9 hours north of Sydney if you drive. So that's where I live. It's absolutely beautiful here. We've got amazing golden beaches, and it is just, yeah, gorgeous during the summer. Doesn't snow where we are. I know a lot of guys have mentioned, oh my god, your weather is so awesome. Yes, it is pretty cool here, as in cool as in not cold. It doesn't snow, and then we got places like this which are just like rainforest. This is 15-20 minutes drive from me, and it's like amazing rainforest sort of area. So yeah, it's a really nice place to live. That's where I am. So another question is, am I ever going to build a bobber? Yes, at some stage I have my eye on something along the lines of maybe getting a Honda Shadow or a Honda Steed, or something, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I will do, but I might even do a complete custom hardtail, or I don't know. But yes, there is a bobber in the works at some point, to answer that question. But with all my builds, as you probably noticed, that I've got like 2 at the moment that are on the go, and I'm thinking about continuing that. I'm thinking about obviously always having 2. So rather than just have the interest of, you know, one style of, I guess, bike, I can always do 2 different styles at the same time. That way, you know, a lot more people are going to have a lot more interest in obviously watching my videos, which doesn't just help me, it helps you guys, because, you know, you can see different styles of builds, because not everything done on one style of build is just for that style. Say for instance, I do an electrics tray, you know, like the electrics tray can be done on any style of bike. really, if you're going to customize things. So yeah, I'm thinking about always having 2 bikes going at the same time. No more than 2. If I do any more than 2, it'll get out of hand. I'll get overwhelmed, and I probably will frustrate myself, so I won't do any more than 2. I don't know how high I am at the moment from sea level, but man, it's getting cold up here. I've only got like this jacket on, and it's like it's hard to explain. Basically, it's got the armor in it, but you can also put the wet weather liner in it, or you can put the actual winter liner in it as well. But at the moment, I've just got the outer skin, which has just got the protective parts where you need them. Speaking of which, another question that came up about my the clothes that I wear, like the actual, do I go, I don't know the exact question, but I'll say it the way I remember it. Do I go with the cafe racer look, or is safety more important to me? That's kind of, I remember the question, how he kind of asked me. So to answer that question, well, I'm not really on a cafe racer at the moment. This is a fairly stock looking bike, so, you know, running around with cafe racer gear only, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. It wouldn't make a difference. But no, I don't just have cafe racer gear. In fact, you know, I don't have a full open helmet. I don't even own, you know, an open helmet. The reason being, well, you know, I like my face. Just in case, you know, the worst thing was to happen, then I like my face. Let's just say that. So I don't really have any plans in buying an open helmet, open face helmet. But having said that, I will tell you the gear that I do have. The jacket that I'm wearing is a Dry Rider. The boots that I'm wearing, they're Dry Rider. I really love that brand. I think they just make absolutely awesome gear. And it's not cafe racer gear at all, you know, like it's just motorcycle gear. I just really like it. I bought the boots and I was like, man, these things are awesome. So then I bought the jacket, and, you know, I really like the jacket. The pants, I haven't had a pair of riding pants for a very long time, ever since I kind of started, I guess. So my riding pants that I have on right now are super comfortable. In fact, I've been looking for a pair of, I guess, riding pants for a while, and I got an email from a company called Pando Moto, and they supplied me these riding pants. Now, full disclaimer, they gave me these riding pants. I'm wearing them now, and I guess this is a review of some sort, because, you know, I have actually been given them. So I'm going to tell you that they are fully comfortable. They've got like a stretchy outer denim sort of feel to them, and they've got obviously the lining, you know, the proper protection in the right places. I'm really happy with them. I can't compare them with any other riding pants because I've never owned a pair, full disclaimer. But I do like them, really happy with them. They've got a whole bunch of different colors in them. So they're the pants that I wear, just briefly. The helmet that I wear is just a standard motorcycle helmet. So it's got the darkened visor that you can actually flip down, flip back up again. That's one of the biggest sellers for me with this guy. It just looks like a standard black plain helmet. I didn't want anything like really sporty looking, as well, you know, it's just a helmet. It's nothing exciting about it really. And later down the track, I do have my eye on a couple of other helmets. In fact, the Lane Splitter is one, and another one is Nex. If you had seen these guys' helmets, they're really cool. I'm pretty happy with those helmets. I think one of those I'll get. So there's a little camping ground just here. It's not bush camping, but it is a camping site. I know it's kind of not bush camping. I understand it's not like, you know, roughing it, but maybe when I get the scrambler finished, I can bring it down here. That's a little snake there, red belly black. Little baby snake, but it's cool. It's got like a little spot where you can park under the trees, and I'm not sure if you can have fires here, but hey, just do it when the rangers don't come around, right? It's kind of cool. I like it. So another question I got was, how do I get time to do everything that I do? As in, obviously building the bike and then doing the editing. And if you don't know, the editing takes me about roughly 8 hours or so per video, because there's a lot that goes into them. So, you know, how do I get time to do that? And then obviously answer all your questions. So I think that's around about what he asked. Hang on a sec. Where are we here? It looks like a private property. No through road. No through low road. Looks pretty fun. Let's do this. So to answer that question, it goes along with the next question. So I'll ask that question as well, which is, what do I do? Like, do I work with my hands? Do I work with my mind? I think one of the questions were from Just Tex, and there's a few other questions relatively the same, like, what do I do? So to answer that question, well, the fabrication side of things, I've got a lot of skills in working with different materials, purely because of all the different styles of jobs that I have. What I used to do over the years is pretty much work with my hands in all various styles of jobs, which has made me need to buy the certain tools that I've needed to use for those jobs, and obviously acquire the skills that I've needed to obviously use those tools. But answering that question as to what I do and how I get time to obviously reply to all your comments and all that stuff, well, I work 1 week on, 1 week off, and that's in an industry similar to my old roster, which I used to work for about 3 years in the mining industry as a welder. I basically used to work 6 weeks on or 4 weeks on and 1 week off, and you know, being away from home for so long was kind of just, I hated it. So then I found another job, similar roster, something similar to what that is, which is 1 week on, 1 week off, but I work 112 hours a week. So when I'm working, you know, big hours, and then I have the week off to be in the garage and obviously, you know, shoot all the videos, make all the stuff that I've got to do, fabricate, and then obviously edit and, you know, reply to the comments and stuff like that. So the difference is what I do now compared to what I used to do is now I help people that can't help themselves. And what I mean by that is I'm a support worker. So I found a career where I feel like I'm making a difference. I'm helping people with life skills, which not everybody has, believe it or not. So I really got into this and I really started to enjoy it a lot. Now my passion is starting to go towards, well, it's not going towards, it's definitely, you know, building motorcycles and helping you guys, show you guys how to build them, you know, from obviously buying a bike and then converting it to something that's your dream bike. That is where my passion is now. It's what I love doing. The comments that come through just blow my mind. Some of the stuff that you guys are absolutely loving what I'm doing. I feel like I may have taken a wrong turn. I feel like this road's gotten a lot longer. I think I'm lost. Oh no, there we go. That's a building, kind of civilization, but not really. There we go. So another question is about, you know, modifying a bike. It's quite a big question that I get often. You know, like, what are the rules in modifying or, you know, customizing a bike, like chopping the frame and stuff like that. And to answer that question, the rules are different in every state and every country, obviously. Someone left me a comment the other day and said he's from Switzerland, and he said that they're not allowed to do anything to their bikes. I'm pretty sure it's Switzerland, don't quote me, but he said they're not allowed to do anything to their bikes at all. And I thought, wow, that's really sad. It's unfortunate. But, you know, the rules are the rules. You can modify and do whatever you want. And, you know, here, if I don't know exactly how much you can and can't get away with, but chopping the back of a frame and re-welding a hoop on and changing a set of forks is not a huge modification in my eyes. And I've never gone down that road of actually seeing an engineer and getting them to approve anything, but I can't imagine it being a huge problem. You know, people just ask for money at the end of the day. Yeah, we can approve that. It's going to cost X amount of money. So I don't have a problem with it. I don't think there's going to be a problem with it, but time will tell. I'm quite surprised I didn't get any crazy questions like my favorite color or my favorite food. But no, all the questions were really good. So thank you to everybody who asked me a question. They were really good questions. I had a lot of fun with that. I will be doing another Q&A at some point. So if there's any questions that you do have and you want to ask and you want me to answer it on camera, then hang on to it. I'll be doing another Q&A fairly soon, hopefully. So have an amazing day, and I'll chat with you in the next video.